Have you ever noticed how you can want something badly and still do the exact opposite? You promise yourself you'll start, you'll stop, you'll change, and then somehow you're right back where you began, scrolling, delaying, avoiding, overthinking. And the worst part isn't the habit. It's the feeling that you can't trust your own word. Most people call that a lack of discipline, but that's not what it is. Self-sabotage is usually a form of self-protection. A quiet strategy your mind uses to keep you safe from embarrassment, rejection, effort, uncertainty, even success. And the tragedy is that it works in the short term while slowly stealing your life in the long term. So today we're going to talk about why you sabotage yourself and how to stop. Not with hype, not with shame, but with something stronger. Honesty, integration, and a practical way to negotiate peace inside your own mind. Because the moment you stop fighting yourself like an enemy is the moment you become unstoppable. Here's the uncomfortable starting point. You sabotage yourself when you're not living in reality. And that doesn't mean you're delusional. It means you're living by a map you stopped updating. And the danger of an outdated map is simple. It feels certain. It speaks with confidence, saying that this is the truth. But truth isn't what you claim. It's what holds up when tested. A belief is only useful if it actually matches the territory of your real life. Most self-sabotage begins the moment you confuse your knowledge with reality and stop checking if it's still true. Think about it. You tell yourself you're just not a consistent person, or that you work better under pressure, or that if you fail it will prove you're not good enough. These aren't facts. They're conclusions, and when you believe them as truth, you start acting like them. That's how a lie becomes a lifestyle. Not because you're trying to be dishonest, but because you're trying to be certain. And certainty is seductive. It lets you avoid the vulnerability of learning something new about yourself. But if you want to stop sabotaging your life, you need one skill more than motivation: the courage to update the map. Now here's the second layer. Even when you know the truth, you still might avoid it. Because you don't have one self. You have parts. One part of you wants growth. Another part wants comfort. One part wants to be seen. Another part wants to hide. And every day, those parts sit around an invisible table, negotiating what you will do with your time, your attention, and your future. Self-sabotage happens when you pretend that table doesn't exist. When you ignore the fearful parts, they don't disappear. They just vote against you later. And then you call it weakness when it was actually neglect. This is where most people get trapped. They build an ideal self-image and exile everything that doesn't fit. They decide what's acceptable inside them, and they shove everything else into the dark. And that hidden side doesn't die. It becomes what psychology calls the shadow. The shadow isn't evil. It's simply the part of you you refuse to accept. And what you refuse to accept, you will express indirectly. You'll sabotage the workout because the shadow resents being controlled. You'll ghost the opportunity because the shadow fears being measured. You'll start fights, procrastinate, self-soothe, self-numb, because some part of you is trying to protect you from pain you haven't learned to hold. Until you integrate what you hide, you will keep tripping over it. Imagine you tell yourself you want to get better at something. You picture a future version of you, disciplined, sharp, impressive. It feels good because it's still imaginary. Then the real moment arrives. You have to show up while imperfect. You have to be a beginner. You have to be seen before you're ready. And suddenly your mind offers you a deal. It suggests that you wait, stay potential, stay safe, stay untested. That's sabotage. And it often comes disguised as intelligence, like waiting for the right time. But the real reason is simpler. Reality would force you to become specific. And being specific means being vulnerable. In other words, you're not only afraid of failure, you're afraid of being real. So how do you stop? You don't crush the part of you that resists. You don't hype yourself up and hope it lasts. You do something more mature. You negotiate. You integrate. You test your beliefs. Here are the steps to start this test. Step 1. Go to the balcony. When you catch yourself sabotaging, don't attack yourself. Create distance. Anything that breaks the trance. Because sabotage thrives in immediacy. It wins when you're merged with the impulse. But the moment you step back, you stop being a puppet and become an observer. Ask what is happening right now, not what's wrong with me. Curiosity is stronger than shame. Step 2, name the voices. Now identify the parts at the table. Maybe one voice wants you to avoid the discomfort. Another wants you to act so you don't regret it later. Another wants relief because you're tired. Another wants control because uncertainty feels dangerous. Give them names, because what you can name, you can work with. What stays vague stays powerful. And here's the key. Every part is trying to help you, even the part that sabotages. It just uses a strategy that's outdated. Step 3, find the need under the behavior. Sabotage is usually an action trying to meet a hidden need. Avoiding the task might be trying to meet the need for relief. Overthinking might be trying to meet the need for certainty. Procrastination might be trying to meet the need for protection from failure. Anger might be trying to meet the need for boundaries. Ask what this part wants for you, then ask why. Keep going until you find the real need. Because when you focus only on the behavior, you see one option. But when you see the need, you see 10 options. That's where freedom appears. Step 4, create a win-win agreement. Now ask a different question. Ask what you could do that respects both needs. If one part wants progress and another wants relief, the agreement might be working for 10 minutes and then taking a break, or making the task smaller, or asking for help so you're not carrying it alone. This is the art. Not forcing yourself like a slave, and not indulging yourself like a child. You become a steady leader. And leadership means you don't silence the crew. You coordinate it. Step 5, integrate the shadow, one honest sentence at a time. This is the deepest part, and it's where most people avoid looking. Self-sabotage often protects a hidden identity, like believing that if you try and fail, you'll feel worthless, or that if you succeed, people will expect more from you, or that if you change, you'll lose who you used to be, or that if you're honest, you'll have to confront what you've been avoiding. So do this. Write one sentence you don't want to admit, not to punish yourself, to free yourself, because the shadow loses power when you stop pretending it isn't there. The goal isn't to become perfect, it's to become whole. And finally, because life is messy, there's one more tool. If you're negotiating the same conflict every single day with no progress, you don't need more negotiations. You need fewer decisions. That's where rules and boundaries come in. Not rigid rules to control you, but gentle structure to protect you. For example, you might decide you don't open social apps until you've done one meaningful task. Rules reduce the daily courtroom drama in your head. They save your energy for what actually matters. So let me ask you something. What if the real enemy was never you, but the false story you've been listening to? What if you're not broken, just divided? What if the part that sabotages isn't evil, just scared, tired, and unheard? When you stop lying to yourself, when you stop confusing the map for the territory, your life gets simpler. Not easier, but clearer. And clarity is power. Try this for one day. When you feel yourself sabotaging, pause. Go to the balcony. Name the voices. Find the need. Make a small win-win agreement. Then keep one promise to yourself, because trust isn't rebuilt through big speeches. It's rebuilt through kept promises. And if this video helped, share it with someone who's tired of fighting themselves. Subscribe if you want more ideas like this, and keep walking with me into the Stoic Innerverse.